I call this meeting to order. Thanks everyone for showing up and being here this morning. The first item on our agenda is to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda. I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Next item is new business. The approval of the election of the Board of Education Secretary is the first item.
I move that we elect Cammie as our Board of Education Secretary pursuant to the retirement of Miss Annette.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The motion carries. Next item is the approval of the FY25 budget adjustment and transfers. I'll accept a motion.
I make that motion.
I'm not sure your microphone worked. Do you want to say it again?
I make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I just want to make a couple quick comments. I do really appreciate all the work that goes into the budget by staff members, by Marty, by Dr. Pearl. I mean, there's just amazing amount of effort that goes into this and checking, and I really do appreciate it. Just wanted to comment that I really do appreciate, we're in a kind of a unique situation right now with worries regarding local, state, and federal funding. And I really did appreciate Dr. Hurl's comments about how to balance those risks with fund balance, because we do always want to try to push out our funds to our staff. And I really do appreciate that careful consideration that was put into that and determining where's the best place to have those fund balances to allow us some comfort in a time of unusual risk, while still being able to give our staff as much as we possibly can. So I wanted to just express appreciation for that.
Dr. Hurl, I didn't actually allow you to speak into the budget. Do you want to do that, and then we can discuss some more?
Nope, that's quite all right. There are 13 pages of adjustments, and a budget it's a roadmap, and it will have to be amended throughout the year. Certainly, as you look at all of the budget amendments, most of them have to do with grants that come in during the course of the year. So we do budget amendments twice a year, typically around December, and then certainly as we close out the year. And you have a list of the revenue and expenditure changes throughout the year. Also, I would like to add that sometimes while we have adjustments, they often are a placement of money or the timing in which money comes in. So especially when we're dealing with federal funds, we have situations where we will make a claim and then we don't receive it this fiscal year, but we will receive it the next fiscal year. So we have to make those adjustments. Certainly federal funds are very much up in the air right now, trying to get claims for this year, as well as trying to budget for federal funds for next year, just based upon the federal appropriations.
I would just apologize. I spoke to budget
No,
and
no,
not
no.
budget adjustments. But I would just make a comment that I did appreciate your information regarding especially title funds and how we're still waiting on third quarter, let alone fourth quarter. So that does make some very significant timing issues that we're having to handle in these budget adjustments. I appreciated that explanation.
Sure.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The motion carries. Next item is the approval of the school district's FY26 budget. Dr. Hurl.
Thank you.
Wait, hold on a
I'm
second.
sorry.
I need a motion. Sorry, my fault. So moved. Dr. Hurl, will you tell us about the budget?
Absolutely. I'm very excited about this year's budget. I can unequivocally say that the district is sitting in the best financial shape, I believe, probably in the history of the school district, and that goes beyond just the fund balance that we have. I think you have to look at things such as the condition of our buildings, how those are, as well as capital project funds that we have available if we do have things, and then also the planning that we have coming up to address some of those needs that we have. So the district is setting very well, as I said during our budget meetings, and thank you very much for taking time out of your schedules to come in for that. While we are setting exceptionally well financially, it is the first time in my career that all three of our major revenue sources are at potential risk. When you look at our local level, we have the situation going on in Jackson County with assessments, and that still has not fully been resolved. You also, along with the local piece, you have the state legislature, whenever there's bills that are filed to limit the amount of additional revenue that could come in locally with ad valorem taxes, which a bill was passed on that. It didn't impact Jackson County, but it did impact other counties throughout the state. So you have local, obviously the foundation formula. Whenever things get tight in the state, transportation is the first thing to get cut, and then they cut the foundation formula. And they use a nice term rather than cuts, they call them withholdings. It's the same thing. They are currently looking to rewrite the foundation formula. That makes me very, very nervous, because there are almost always winners and losers. And what will be really interesting to see is, in the past, historically in Missouri, and I will say in most states, whenever they rewrite their education funding, they'll have a term what's called hold harmless. And they will make sure that nobody loses money. I'm not sure that that'll be the case. So it would not surprise me if we have a situation where there truly are winners and losers. And then you have to look at federal funds as well. Typically federal funds are pretty, it's a situation where you know they're coming in, and you know your allocation, but with some of the legislation coming from DC with the big beautiful bill is what it's being referred to, there are a lot of things related to title funds that are up in the air, including maybe Title II, Title III, and Title IV actually going away and coming to states in the form of block grants. Who knows what that's going to look like. So again, while I'm very excited about the budget I'm presenting this morning, there are some concerns with revenues, in not only next year, but in future years. With that being said, we do have anticipated revenues of $248,755,743, with anticipated expenditures of $265,031,683. You will notice this is a deficit budget, but this is one of those things that, number one, we never spend our budget down to zero, so I would very much expect that these expenditures to be less than that. Traditionally, we spend about 98.3% of our allotted budget. And then I admit I am very cautious, always. I'm very conservative with our revenues, so while I do expect us to have a deficit budget for this next year, that was planned, and we have done that with significant raises to our staff. So I think that's a good thing as well.
I know that we as a board are trying to have more communications about things that happen with committees and things like that. So in our discussion today, I'd love to give each of you an opportunity to speak to our budget meeting that we had where we discussed it with Dr. Hurl. Maybe each of us can try to just talk about something that stood out to us, in addition to any questions or anything that you might have for Dr. Hurl today.
I think the thing for me was, you touched on it earlier, is just our buildings and the capital funds that we have available. As I drive around town, I always am so impressed with the condition of our buildings and the shape that they're in, and that's due to thoughtful consideration through the years and pre-planning and forethought, and that just is what comes to my mind with you and the entire way that you have handled the budget process through the years. You've rescued the district once and kept it in great shape ever since, so I appreciate it very much.
I'd like to say too that over the years, with Dr. Hurl coming here and talking about the budget and meeting on these 2x2 budget meetings. It gives me a great feeling. I feel so good about the budget and the conservative attitude on our revenues because prior to that, I remember it was just really nerve-wracking to see what if we couldn't make the budget for our staff. And to be in this kind of financial shape gives a school board member a very safe and good feeling that things are being run the way that they should be. So I thank you for all you've done on that and all you guys have done on that. It is a wonderful feeling, and so thank you.
I would like to add, we have a couple people in the audience, and I said this during the budget meetings. There are so many people that play a part in the budget. Certainly Marty and the business office staff, but then all the way down to our directors who create their own budgets, are at the building level as well. But it's certainly a team effort.
I was just going to say, I appreciate the plan. I know we have a very large fund balance now, but the plan and seeing what the future holds, and that we are slowly planning to spend that down, but we have it in case we need it at this time, and so that's helpful to know. I also appreciated, we had talked a little bit about some energy efficiency programs and trying to save, because that's one of a very large expenditure, and so it's somewhere where there's potential for savings. One thing I did want to add, when will this be made public? I know we had talked about it at our last meeting, and unfortunately that didn't occur, but when will the budget be posted for public review?
Well, it's really not public review.
Well,
but if they would like
to see at this point, no. But
so as soon as it gets approved by
okay, so it
the
could
Board of
potentially
Education.
be today.
But probably not today, but certainly I would think by Tuesday.
Okay. And I think that's what I have. Thank you.
Go ahead. You're fine. I will second Jill's comment on our facilities. I think we've come a really long way and appreciate the focus on our buildings, and that's a challenging place to be too with our historical city and having brand new but also trying to level that out with our older buildings and replace and repair as needed, and so I appreciate all the work that's been done there, and I also appreciate our plan where we have tried to work in step movement so that we automatically are able to pay our staff for step movement and make sure that that is across the board for the next 3 years, because that is a place that I know all of us are devastated to be if we're not able to give anybody a raise, especially with our inflation that we are seeing. So it's definitely reassuring to see what our fund balance is and be able to know that we should be in a good place for the next 3 years, even with the concerns we have with funding.
I would like to add, as far as our buildings, the way the district handled ESSER funds was very significant. We did not use it on people, and that was something board members who were on when COVID hit and this occurred that I stressed. We cannot use it on people. You see school districts that did are now having to cut. We used it on energy efficiency and things like new windows in buildings, chiller upgrades. We've spent millions and millions, which hopefully will actually pay us back in years to come.
I think I appreciated you taking the time to, talk into state funding. I know that our communities have passed some funding for education, and how the state will use that funding to keep it in. They will give us a certain amount of money, no matter what, for education. But this extra money is going to help them to take money from that education pot and put it into another pot, because it's just filling that gap. So it's hard for our community to recognize that, hey, we just gave education more money, but really it's not like education's getting an additional amount. We're still getting the same amount if we're fully funded. And so it's important for us to continue to advocate for fully funding the education budget. Again, I appreciate the efforts that our district is making for the rainy day, that we are starting to now see the rainy day, and that's why we're starting to actually have to use some of that funding for this budget. And so thank you for your foresight in making sure that that would be available to us, and I'm praying that we are able to have a budget that is fully funded by local, state, and federal funds. Education is one of the most important things that we do in the United States, and I think we just need to invest in it and put our money there. Do you have anything else?
I kind of spoke out of turn, so I won't add anything. But Anthony, did you?
Thank you. I have a somewhat a unique perspective. I definitely appreciate all of the work of people whose names I will probably never know, who have turned screws and ratchets and all of that to make this district what it is. From Saloom's expertise in guiding through change and innovation and all that fun stuff, and bringing on new people with new vision and insight and all of that fun stuff. So thank you to everyone who's played a part in keeping this district where it is. I have a sense of pride, I think we all do, especially being a graduate from this district, when we drive through our community and see the very impressive sites in our buildings. In particular, Van Horn High School is the school I graduated from, and so graduating in '09, most recently, I think I'm the most recent graduate up here, I think. Okay, so my friends and I, classmates, we still kind of associate and talk, and so some of the comments that they make about, wow, Van Horn now, it's still amazing, and to see one of their classmates being a part of some of the work, I certainly do not take credit for the work that is being done, but it's really impressive, and it feels good. It feels good to have those conversations and to see the pride in our community. So I say thank you to Dr. Hurl, his staff, and everyone who, and my colleagues, who meet, who plan, who think, who pray, who support, who show up, Project Shine, all of it. We're thankful for this great community and partnership. So thank you.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The budget carries, or the motion carries. The last item on our agenda is adjournment. I'll accept a motion.
I move to adjourn to closed session pursuant to Missouri State Statute for Legal Matters 610.021 subparagraph 1, Real Estate 610.021 subparagraph 2, and Personnel Issues 610.021 subparagraph 3.
Second. And I'm sorry, I don't see real estate on the information sheet. On the. Okay, so it's not actually real estate, it's just personnel and legal?
I don't know that we have
Like on the
real
agenda?
estate to discuss.
Okay. just wanted to
That
make
might
Do you want me to do a new motion?
I just wanted clarification that the agenda is correct, so if we're good, we're good. Thank you.
Okay, although, actually, we'll do a roll call. Usually you're going to go president, vice president, treasurer, and then we do the remaining order.
Okay, Mrs. Gary.
Yes.
Mrs. Spears.
Yes.
Mrs. Lake Robertson.
Yes.
Ms. Wendy Aaron.
Yes.
Mr. Luxford.
Yes.
Mr. Anthony J. Montaigne.
Yes.
Ms. Randy Ferguson.
Yes.
We are adjourned.